The great throne hall of the alien empire was silent. The floor was made of dark glass, reflecting the red glow of the massive star outside the palace windows. Guards in silver armor stood like statues, not daring to breathe loudly. In the center, on a high black throne, sat the Empress. Her skin was pale gold, her long crown shaped like curved blades. Her eyes glowed with cold fire. Everyone in the hall could feel it. She was angry. A trembling officer stepped forward. He held a small silver data crystal in his hands. His head bowed so low his horns nearly touched the floor.
Ow!
Your Majesty, we received the report. His voice cracked. Your personal fleet, the Crimson Spears, they are gone. The Empress did not move at first. Her voice, when it came, was quiet, almost gentle. Gone? She tilted her head slightly. How? The officer swallowed hard. They were attacked, destroyed in the outer sectors, no survivors. He hesitated, glancing around as if hoping someone else would speak for him. The attackers were human. The word hung in the air like poison. Several ministers gasped softly. A guard shifted his stance. The Empress's eyes narrowed, her hands tightening on the armrests of her throne. Humans, she repeated slowly, as if tasting the sound. They dare? The officer shook his head quickly. It was likely a misunderstanding. The sound of metal cracking filled the hall. The Empress had crushed the armrest of her throne with one hand, rose to her feet. Her voice now carried like a storm through the great chamber. No one touches what is mine. No one destroys my ships and lives. She stepped down from the throne, her long robes flowing like liquid shadow. The guards lowered their heads as she passed. Find them, she ordered. Find every human leader, every human fleet, every human world. I will burn their skies and salt their soil. There will be nothing left. A minister dared to speak, Your Majesty. With respect, humans are not what they used to be. There are whispers of old fleets. I know the whispers, the Empress snapped. Old stories for frightened children. Humans are scattered, weak. They hide on one small blue world, pretending they are still important. She turned to the officer. Send word to every governor. They will join the hunt. Want Earth's location within the cycle. Far away. Beyond the Empress's empire, a hidden signal pulsed through the void. It was faint, coded in an old human language no alien had seen in centuries. It jumped from relay to relay, moving toward one destination, Earth. In a deep underground chamber on Earth, an old man sat in front of a dim console. The walls were covered in dust, the air heavy with the smell of oil and metal. The signal reached him, and the console lit up with red symbols. His eyes widened, pressed a single switch, his voice calm but carrying weight. This is control. Activate the fleet. Cross the oceans, deep under the water. Massive shapes began to stir. For centuries they had slept, hidden from the galaxy. Their hulls were black as night, their weapons cold and silent. But now lights came alive along their spines. Machines rumbled in the darkness. One by one, the ancient Supercarriers awoke. In orbit above the moon, a small human patrol ship received the coded orders. The captain, a woman with silver hair and a scar across her cheek, read the message twice. Her voice was steady when she spoke to her crew. It's real. The carriers are waking. Her second officer stared at her. After all this time, why? Because the captain said, looking out the window at the stars, someone finally made the mistake. The Empress's palace. The officer who had delivered the news stood alone in a cold hallway, his hands shaking. He knew the Empress's rage was not just about pride. She had a history with humans. Long ago, before her reign began, her people had faced humanity in a war that nearly destroyed them. The records were sealed, erased from public memory. Only the oldest among the court remembered the truth. Now that truth was coming back. The Empress returned to her throne room and opened a private channel to her war council. A large holographic map appeared before her, showing the spiral arms of the galaxy. Red circles marked her empire's territories. She tapped one sharp finger on the outer edges. Search here first, she commanded. This is where they hide. Their ships. A general's voice came through the channel. Your Majesty, we must be careful. If they do have the fleets of legend, they don't, the Empress interrupted coldly. But even if they did, my empire has grown since those days. I command the largest armadas in history. I fear no one. As her words echoed in the hall, a shadow passed across the holographic map. It was faint, almost invisible, a sensor glitch, perhaps. But in the dark space far beyond her empire, a human carrier had just left its hidden dock. Its engines burned silent, its weapons armed. It was the first of many. The officer returned to his quarters that night, unable to shake the image of the Empress's eyes. He thought of the humans creatures the galaxy had once called Deathworlders, beings who had fought wars no other species could survive. He wondered what would happen if the stories were true, if the carriers were real. But such thoughts were dangerous. The Empress's empire, doubt was punished. In the darkness of space, Earth's hidden fleet moved like a shadow tide. The first wave of carriers slipped between asteroid fields and dead worlds, avoiding every known sensor. No one outside of Earth even knew they existed yet. The Empress stood by the palace window, looking at the red star outside. She smiled, slow and cold. "Let them come," she whispered. "Let them try." But far away aboard the lead human Supercarrier, a deep voice gave a quiet order. Plot a course to the heart of the Empire. The crew moved without hesitation. The war had already begun. The Empress just didn't know it yet. The ocean depths were darker than the night sky. No sunlight had touched this place for thousands of years. Pressure strong enough to crush steel surrounded the hidden docks, yet the massive shapes resting there were built to withstand far worse. One by one, the ancient human supercarriers came to life. Their armored hulls, black as volcanic glass, shimmered with faint blue lines as dormant systems reactivated. Lights spread along their edges like veins filling with blood. Engines older than any living human roared silently in the deep, in a sealed command room above the docks. Commander Rains stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His uniform was simple, unmarked. There were no medals here, no decorations. Those who served in this place needed no reminders of what they were. "Status?" he asked quietly. "Carriers 1 through 200 online," an officer replied. "Remaining ships are powering reactors now. Estimated full readiness in 9 hours." Rains nodded slowly. His eyes moved to the large viewing glassware. Shadows shifted in the water, massive silhouettes moving like giants in the deep. "They don't know what's coming for them," he said, his voice flat. "And they never will, not until it's too late." Thousands of kilometers away, hidden in the mountains of the Andes, the old war council had gathered. 12 figures sat around a circular table, faces lit only by the flicker of the central holomap. Red lights marked alien fleets spreading toward human territory. A single blue light pulsed at the center Earth. "We have confirmation," said Admiral Leon, her voice sharp. "The alien Empress has mobilized. Long-range sensors show her scouts in the Sol approach corridor. They will be here in weeks." A deep voice spoke from the shadows. "Then we have less time than we thought." "We always knew this day would come," another council member said grimly. "We hid, we built, now we use what we've kept hidden." Far above, in the emptiness of space beyond Pluto's orbit, a small human interceptor glided silently. Its captain, Mace Carter, watched the sensor screen with narrowed eyes. "That's not a rock," he muttered. The blip ahead was moving slow, deliberate. "An alien scout ship?" "Orders, Captain?" his weapons officer asked. Mace smiled thinly. "We don't send messages, we send warnings." 2 seconds later, a railgun slug tore through the alien vessel before its crew even realized they'd been targeted. The wreck drifted silently into the black. No distress beacon sent. The alien Empress, sitting in her golden throne, was informed of the loss 2 days later. She did not look surprised, only amused. "So they have ships after all," she murmured. "Good. Let them resist. A war is more entertaining when the prey runs." But deep in her mind, she remembered something she would never admit aloud the last time her people fought humans. They lost entire worlds. In the Atlantic carrier, 001 Iron Dawn broke the surface like a rising mountain. Water poured off its sides in roaring waterfalls. The crew stood at their stations, watching sunlight touch their ship for the first time in 7 centuries. Commander Raines's voice came through the fleet channels. "We have been silent too long. Now the galaxy will remember us." In the black between stars, alien warlords laughed at the thought of facing humans. They still thought Earth was weak. They still believed the Empress's fleets were unstoppable. They would learn soon enough. Beyond Neptune's icy orbit, space was silent, too silent. No patrol beacons blinked, no mining vessels crawled across the asteroids. Only the faint light of the distant sun reached this far, making the cold emptiness feel even more endless. Lone alien scout ship drifted through the dark, its crew bored and restless. They had been sent to scan the Sol system's edge for human defenses. The Empress's orders were clear. Find Earth. Find the hidden fleets. Report back. The ship's commander, a scaled officer named Tavor, leaned back in his chair. "Nothing," he muttered. "As I predicted, the humans are ghosts." Then the sensor officer frowned. "Commander, I have a contact. Bearing 0-9-7. Small, but moving fast." Tavor's frills twitched. Visual. The screen flickered, then showed an empty starfield. The contact was gone. "Lost it?" Tavor barked. "No, sir. It's behind us." Before anyone could react, a shadow slid past their aft view. It wasn't a fighter. It wasn't even small. The alien crew froze as the outline of a massive black warship filled the rear camera. Silent weapon ports glowing faint blue. "Identify," Tavor shouted. The computer gave a result the aliens did not expect. "Unknown human vessel. A." Calm voice came over their coms. "This is the human carrier Iron Dawn. You've wandered too far from home." The alien commander's blood chilled. We are on a peaceful survey," the human captain cut him off.
"You destroyed our scouts near Vega. This is your
only warning." The alien crew's eyes darted to their commander, waiting for an order. But before Tavor could give it, a flash of light erupted from the human ship's forward batteries in less than 3 seconds. The alien scout was torn apart, its hull splitting into glowing shards that drifted silently into the void. There were no escape pods, no survivors. Far away, the Iron Dawn's captain, Mace Carter, turned to his bridge crew. "Log it. No transmissions sent." The comm officer raised an eyebrow. "You're not reporting to command?" Carter shook his head. "This isn't the time for reports. It's the time for silence." Meanwhile, the Empress's court was in chaos. The loss of another scout so close to Sol had rattled her ministers, but the Empress herself only smiled. So she murmured, "The humans have claws. Then we will simply cut them off." She leaned toward her war council. "Summon the Annihilation Fleet." In the cold of deep space, thousands of alien warships began to move, a black wave stretching across light years. Back on Earth? In the underground war room, Commander Raines received fresh intelligence from Neptune's defense perimeter. Stared at the holographic projection. An alien formation moving faster than expected. Heading straight for human space. He turned to his officers. "Send the order." The carriers moved to intercept. From the oceans, deserts, and hidden orbital docks, more supercarriers rose to join the fleet. They moved without fanfare, their massive frames swallowing the stars behind them, somewhere between Neptune and the Kuiper Belt. The hunters and the hunted were about to meet. The Vega system had always been a jewel of the Empress's empire. A major supply hub, a meeting point for trade fleets, and a heavily defended stronghold. Massive orbital platforms circled the bright blue star, their weapon arrays ready to repel any enemy. Convoys of freighters moved between the planets, protected by squadrons of warships. It was a place where no enemy had dared to strike for over 200 years until now, in the middle of a routine patrol. Young alien officer aboard the orbital command station noticed something strange on her console. "Captain, I have an unidentified energy spike. Sector 912. The captain glanced at the readout and frowned. That's outside our patrol lanes. Could be a solar flare. It's too precise, sir, she replied. Before anyone could investigate further, the darkness of space in Sector 912 shimmered, and then erupted in light. They appeared without warning. Not one, not 10, but dozens of massive human supercarriers. Their black hulls seemed to drink in the starlight, their blue weapon ports glowing like cold fire. Smaller escort ships darted around them like predators, positioning for attack. Contact. Multiple enemy ships? The sensor officer shouted. The captain's voice cracked. Humans here. The first volley came before the order to fire could even be given. Railgun slugs, each the size of a cargo shuttle, ripped through the nearest alien cruisers, tearing them apart in silence. Drone swarms poured from the carrier bays, hundreds of small, fast attack craft flooding toward the orbital platforms on the bridge of the human carrier Iron Dawn. Captain Mace Carter stood calmly. As the battle unfolded, target the supply lines, disable their logistics, leave nothing they can rebuild in a week. His weapons officer grinned. Understood. Alien defenders fought desperately, but the humans were everywhere at once. Stealth frigates appeared, inside defensive perimeters, unleashing missile barrages before vanishing into the black. Drones overloaded the platform's targeting systems, forcing them to fire blindly. One by one, the alien warships fell silent, drifting in ruin. From her throne, light years away, the Empress received the first frantic transmission from Vega. It was grainy, the signal broken by interference. But the image was clear, a massive human carrier, weapons blazing, cutting through her defenses as if they were paper. Her generals waited for her rage. Instead, she leaned back, her golden eyes narrowing. So, they have awakened the old weapons. They're destroying the entire supply hub, one general said urgently. If this continues, the outer fleets will be cut off, the Empresses. The voice was low, cold, and deliberate. Then we draw them into the heart. Prepare the trap. Back at Vega, the last alien platform exploded in a silent flash, leaving only burning debris and shattered hulls. Human drones swarmed the freighter lanes, seizing or destroying anything carrying fuel or weapons. On the Iron Dawn, Carter received the final report. Vega hub is gone. Enemy supply lines are crippled. He gave a single nod. Good leave. The wrecks. Let them see what's coming. As the human fleet vanished back into the void, leaving Vega in smoking ruin, one alien transmission managed to escape the chaos. It was sent directly to the Empress's personal channel. She read the single line it carried. Your homeworld is next. The Empress's perfect trap was set in the Dathrix corridor, a narrow stretch of space where hyperspace lanes converged. On one side lay a massive nebula, thick with ion storms that disrupted sensors. On the other side, the gravitic pull of a collapsed star made any wrong move fatal. It was the perfect killing ground. Her generals swore that no fleet could pass through alive. Hundreds of alien warships waited in silence, entwined asteroids and within the ion clouds. Battleships, cruisers, and swarms of attack craft floated in complete darkness, their engines cold to avoid detection. In the command chamber of the flagship Blood Sun, Warlord Zever stood over the holomap, his talons tapping in anticipation. When the humans arrive, he told his lieutenants, we strike from all sides. Their carriers will be shredded before. They can even launch drones. The crew was tense but confident. The trap was flawless, or so they thought. It began with a whisper. Deep inside the fleet's comm systems, strange signal pulsed. It was faint, irregular, almost like background noise. No one noticed at first. Then the navigation systems began to flicker. Gun targeting arrays froze for a fraction of a second before resuming. On the bridge of Iron Dawn, Captain Mace Carter watched his own tactical display as icons representing alien ships blinked erratically. We're in, his cyber warfare officer reported. Their fire control is ours. We can turn it on or off whenever you say. Carter's lips curved in a thin smile. Don't turn it off. redirect it. And then chaos. A cruiser in the Empress's trap formation suddenly opened fire, not on the humans, but on the destroyer beside it. The destroyer responded instinctively, launching a spread of plasma torpedoes. Nearby ships, confused and seeing weapons locks on their own hulls, fired back. Within minutes, the trap fleet was tearing itself apart. On Blood's Sun, Warlord Zever roared, demanding explanations. His officers shouted over each other, claiming sensor malfunctions, rogue AI systems, or sabotage. But no one suspected the truth that the humans had wormed their way into every targeting computer and come relay in the sector from the shadows beyond the asteroid field. The human carriers finally revealed themselves. They didn't rush into battle. They simply watched the aliens destroy one another, striking only to eliminate ships that might escape. Back in her palace, the Empress listened to the live transmissions from the Dathrix corridor. The screams, the panic, the sudden silence as her proud warships vanished from the tactical map, all of it told her the truth. This was no accident. The humans were not just warriors. They were hunters who understood fear, her claws dug into the arms of her throne. Enough of games, she hissed. Bring me the guard. The guard. The Empress's personal fleet. Elite, ruthless, and loyal beyond death. They had not been called into battle in over a century, but even as her guard prepared to launch, a new report reached her. An unknown human ship far larger than any carrier had just entered open space. Its size defied reason. The shadow appeared first. From the bridge of the alien battleship Crown's Wrath, Captain Relth watched the light of a distant gas giant slowly vanish, as though something enormous had passed in front of it. At first, he thought it was an eclipse. Then the sensors began to scream. Mass reading. Extreme. It's not a planet, the sensor officer stammered. It's a ship. The darkness shifted, revealing the colossal outline of a vessel so massive it made even the alien capital. Ships look like shuttles. Its black hull absorbed every trace of light. It's broken only by lines of glowing blue that stretched for kilometers. On its forward section, in simple white lettering, was a name, Humanity's Apex. From the alien fleet's perspective, the sheer scale was horrifying. It wasn't just a warship. It was a mobile fortress, a floating city armed with more firepower than entire star systems. On the Apex's bridge, Commander Rains stood at the center, hands clasped behind his back. Status? All primary. Weapons are charged, reported his gunnery chief. Shield harmonics stable. Drone bays fully stocked. Rains nodded slowly. Then, it's time we introduced ourselves. Without a single warning shot, the Apex's spinal railgun fired. The weapon's blast lit up the void, and a beam of hyper-accelerated metal tore through 3 alien battleships in a single shot. Wreckage spun away into the gas giant's rings, burning like meteors. Alien cum channels exploded with panic. It's too big. No vessel can be this large. Their weapon shields can't hold. The Empress, watching the live feed, from her throne leaned forward, eyes narrowed. She had seen human carriers before. This was something else entirely. This was built for one purpose: to end wars before they began. Engage, came the order from her guard's flagship. The elite fleet surged forward, weapons blazing, confident in their superiority. But the Apex didn't fight like a normal warship. It moved with precision, its massive frame turning impossibly fast for its size. Swarms of drones poured from its hangars, overwhelming alien fighters in seconds. Each time the guard tried to close the distance, they found their engines crippled by pinpoint strikes. Plasma beams cut through their armor. Railgun rounds tore through shield generators, and missile barrages chased survivors into hiding. On the alien flagship Crown's Wrath, Captain Relth's voice was shaky. If this is what they kept hidden, what else did they have? Back on the Apex, Rains received a cum request direct, encrypted. It was from the Empress herself. Her image appeared on the main view screen, regal and unmoving, though her eyes betrayed the weight of the moment. Commander, she said slowly, you have my attention. What is it you want? Raines's expression did not change. "Surrender, now, or your empire will not see another sunrise." The Empress said nothing. She simply ended the transmission, but her silence was louder than any threat. The Empress stood alone in her private war chamber, the golden crown resting on the war table before her. Outside the palace windows, her capital city shimmered under the light of 3 suns, its towers stretching high into the thin sky. It had been the heart of her empire for centuries, untouchable, eternal. But now, even she could feel the tremor beneath its beauty. Her generals stood in silence, waiting for orders. Every one of them had seen the battle footage from the Dathrix corridor. Every one of them had seen humanity's apex tear through the guard. They had no illusions about the enemy they faced. "We will not run," the Empress said finally. "We will not hide. This world will be the graveyard of humanity's arrogance." She waved her hand over the table, and the holographic map lit up with layers of defense, planetary shields, orbital cannon rings, minefields, swarms of interceptors, and the last of her remaining fleets. "Every weapon, every soldier, every blade we have will be here," she declared. "We will drown them in fire before they ever reach my throne." Far across the galaxy, in the command chamber aboard humanity's apex, Commander Raines received the latest intelligence report. It showed exactly what the Empress had planned: an unbroken wall of defenses surrounding her homeworld. "She's pulling everything in," his chief strategist said. "No retreats. She means to make this her last stand." Raines studied the display for a long moment, then gave the order: "Signal the fleet. All carriers, all escorts, we go in together. From hidden bases on dead moons, from ocean docks, on Earth and Mars, from asteroid hangars that had been sealed for centuries, the full might of humanity's navy began to move. One by one, the carriers entered hyperspace, their jumps timed so precisely that they would emerge as a single wall of firepower. Inside one of the carriers, Captain Mace Carter stood with his crew. The deck hummed with energy as weapon systems came online. "The Empress thinks we'll break on her walls," he told them. "She's wrong. Today, those walls fall." Back on the alien capital, the population had been told this battle would be a glorious victory. Massive public screens showed propaganda of alien warships blasting apart human ships, but the images were old, from a war long past. The quiet corners of the city, however, whispers spread. Some remembered the truth of those old wars. The times when humans had nearly wiped the Empire from existence. The Empress ignored the whispers. She walked to the palace balcony, gazing at the horizon where the great orbital defense cannons reached into the sky. "Come, humans," she said softly. "Come and see what it means to challenge an Empress." But in the deep shadows above, her planet, an advanced human stealth carrier, had already arrived, slipping through her defenses unseen. Its orders were simple: prepare the target for the fleet's arrival. Within hours, the entire sky would burn. Daylight over the alien capital was shattered by the first wave at first. The citizens thought it was a storm, a strange shadow rolling over the city, blotting out the 3 suns. Then the shadow resolved into shapes, enormous shapes. One after another, they emerged from the upper atmosphere. Their black holes glinting in flashes of firelight, the humans had come. 1,000. Supercarriers descended in perfect formation, their sheer mass making the air rumble. The orbital defense rings opened fire instantly, hundreds of plasma bolts streaking upward, but the carrier's shields absorbed the blasts without slowing. Then the sky turned white as the humans answered. Railgun slugs and missile barrages poured down from orbit, striking the Empress's defensive grid. One by one, shield generators overloaded, collapsing in clouds of molten metal. The ground shook as planetary gun batteries exploded, their towers toppling like stone under the relentless fire from the balcony of her palace. The Empress watched the destruction with unblinking eyes. Her generals stood behind her, their voices tight with panic as reports flooded in. Fleets destroyed, interceptors wiped out, orbital mines detonated prematurely by human countermeasures. They are everywhere. One of her commanders said, his voice breaking. "We can't silence." The Empress ordered, but even her voice had lost some of its iron. Above the palace, humanity's apex broke through the clouds like a mountain falling from the sky. The ship hovered with impossible precision, its massive forward batteries aimed directly at the capitals. Heart. On its bridge, Commander Rains opened a channel. "This ends now," he said, his voice carrying to every frequency. "Surrender or be erased." The Empress stared at the looming behemoth above her city. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she removed her crown, setting it gently on the balcony rail. "I will not kneel," she replied. Rains didn't. "Blink. Then your empire dies with you." The order was given. Human carriers unleashed their full fury. Precision strikes tore through the palace's shield dome, burning holes in the golden spires. Drone swarms descended into the streets, disabling resistance and capturing key command centers. Entire alien regiments vanished in flashes of light as orbital bombardments carved deep scars into the planet's surface. Within hours, the once mighty capital lay in ruins. Smoke rose from the shattered skyline, and the Empress's armies were gone. She was taken alive, her hands bound in energy cuffs, escorted aboard humanity's apex. From the palace balcony, a single massive human flag was raised, visible for miles. The galaxy watched the broadcast in silence. For the first time in centuries, the alien empire had fallen. Humanity was no longer a forgotten power hiding in the shadows. They were the apex, and the stars now knew it. But in the war room aboard, humanity's apex, as the victory reports came in, a quiet alert flashed on Rains's console. Another signal encrypted. Unknown was coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy. It contained just 4 words: "We have been watching." The war was over, but something far worse was already on its way.